Hey guys, so today when Jason gets here later this morning, we're gonna head over to the range and do some shooting with a new Bullpup 12 gauge shotgun from IWI. It's called the TS12. And yeah, there's not a whole lot of information out there on the internet about it right now, except some SHOT Show videos and things like that. Although the guys over at TFB, James Reeves, he did do a video on it, and he's had a pre-production sample for a while, and he did a video, I believe, on his pre-production sample. Well, we have a production sample. And yeah, they're also showing listed as available on some websites out there. And so we're gonna take it out to the range with a whole bunch of different shotgun shells and see how the thing performs. So when Jason gets here, I'll meet you guys at the range and we'll do some shooting with this shotgun and see how it performs. Let's load it up for the first time here really quick. We're gonna fire some Fiocchi buckshot. And this is some of their nickel plated buck. It is high brass. And we'd like to thank our friends over at 2awarehouse.com for supplying the ammunition to us out here this afternoon. And we're gonna go ahead and load up each of the tubes. Each tube, I believe, should take 5 rounds. When you insert the shotgun shell, it loads from here. If you want to release it, you hit this button and it pops out, catches it, doesn't just let it go flying, and then you can put it away, hit the button again, next round comes out, you get the idea. So we can load 5 here. To see if it'll take a 6th one, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't. So 5 rounds loaded there. All right. And then on the other side, you can also load 5 rounds. Now keep in mind, while you're doing this, if your bolt's to the rear and you think the gun's empty, oh, that was lucky, and you think the gun's empty, when you rotate this to load the next cylinder, that bolt's going to slam home and put a round in the chamber. So you're going to want to make sure that your safety is on, so you don't accidentally load the shotgun and then have a mistake. All right, so now I'm gonna hit the release lever that's right here. It's ambi inside the trigger guard. I'm gonna rotate the magazine, one to the right, and that exposes that final empty tube. So now I'm gonna go ahead and load that one up, 5 rounds. I have not sighted the EOTech in, it's just the EOTech 512. I'm gonna go ahead and charge it. I'm gonna go ahead and charge it. So this is the first time I fired it, so I'm gonna hit the release here. All right, so that sounds like it dropped a round into the lifter just below. Pull the bolt to the back, and there we go, loaded it. All right, I forgot basic shotguns there for a moment. Let's go ahead and fire off these 5 buckshot loads and see if this thing's kind of sort of zeroed. All right, had a malfunction. And it's like very little recoil. We have it on the low setting, so it's not undergassed. All right, did not lock open like it should. Oh, actually picked up another one. There, it locked open. Hit the release, rotate, and it loads that next 5 shots. And another malfunction. So it doesn't look like it likes this stuff, and that's high brass buck. All right. Dead trigger, and another malfunction. I'm just going to run these out. Obviously, the gun doesn't like these loads.
Try changing the gas setting.
Switching it to high power. All right. Jason says try switching it to high power. The recoil's really light. Even worse. Put it back to low setting, since it didn't even kick that one out. Recoil's light though. I thought it was going to work. All right. Definitely doesn't like those buckshot loads, and we used those for the first magazine because we thought they would work. Let's see if we have anything else that might work. Let's see if we can get through 15 rounds. Okay, so the buckshot definitely works. That's interesting. The recoil impulse, again, is very, very mild, but I'm more concerned with it not being able to cycle affordable stuff because what I just fired isn't exactly affordable. Some of the other brands of shotgun shells we brought out here this afternoon, besides the Fiocchi and the Winchester, we brought out some Estate ammunition. This stuff's commonly available. We have some 5-shot Estate ammunition, high brass, and this is high velocity, 1,330 feet per second with the 5-shot. I'm gonna go ahead and load 15 rounds of this stuff. And load 5 rounds into the other side. Now I'm gonna go ahead and rotate it. Doesn't matter which way I rotate it. That empty chamber will expose itself on one side or the other. It's over here. And we'll load 5 more rounds. It's kind of nice when you don't get that round fully seated, that when it shoots back, it gets caught by that little stop instead of shooting up and disappearing. I think that's 5. I wasn't counting. It's definitely 5. All right, let's go ahead and see if this 5-shot stuff works. 16 bucks a box. Release a round, charge the shotgun, and put it on fire. All right, that stuff's warm. It's heaving them. It definitely likes the warmer stuff, and that was warm. I'd say that's had a little bit more punch to it than even the buckshot, the Winchester stuff. So let's try some other stuff. Let's see what else we have in the Polaris that will run the TS12. Pardon the mess in the back of the Polaris. We had to make an impromptu table. So let's take the TS12 apart. We're only going to go so far as to show you what you can do without tools. Once we reach the point of the disassembly where it requires tools, we'll point that out. We're not going to go that far because we're just going to cover basic field maintenance. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that your shotgun is clear. If you have the hammer back, the bolt's just going to keep going back and forth, and you're not going to be able to lock it open. So one way you can get it to lock open is right down here. There's a little nub on the very bottom. They call it a carrier release lever. Push this. You'll hear it click. It will not fire the shotgun. We've confirmed that. And now when you pull your bolt to the rear, it'll lock in the rearward position. That will allow you to look into the chamber to make sure that the shotgun is clear. To drop the bolt, it's a fairly common button that you'll find on a lot of semi-autos. Right underneath the ejection port, there's a button by my thumb. I'm gonna push that button, and it'll drop the bolt. All right, now that we know that the weapon's clear, I'm going to invert it. And right here on the very top, you have a push button on your butt pad. You're gonna push that button in with your finger, give it a whap with your thumb, and the butt pad comes off. This is a QD mount. It's present on both sides of the shotgun, and it doesn't matter which way you push it. You can push it through either left or to the right. So I'm going to start pushing that through, and then on the other end I'm going to grab a hold of it and pull it out, and you can see it's identical on both sides, so it doesn't matter which way you put it back. And now you can take this spacer off. Once you've taken that off, now you can slide the housing off, and this is where we get into tools required. So like an 870 shotgun or other shotguns out there, you have 2 pins that are held in by detents. A 3mm punch will allow you to drop out your riser assembly and your trigger group for cleaning. All right, very simple to do. Now we have the recoil spring, and you'll have to put it back in the way I just took it out because you'll want this button here pointing up. And then just slide your bolt and carrier off this silver shaft. Again, to go any further in the disassembly of the bolt, you have 2 pins held in by a detent. The same 3mm punch, you can knock these pins out and separate your bolt. You can see how the bolt locks. That's in the, that would be in the unlocked position, that would be the locked position, and the gas piston acts upon the top of the carrier here. And when it's in battery, it looks like this. After the piston hits it, it moves rearward. You can see how the locking system now works. On the end, you have this detent. You hear it ratcheting off. You unscrew this cap. Take that off. Inside there, you do have a standard Beretta Benelli style choke. It comes with, at least this one did, with an improved cylinder already in the barrel. You also have a modified choke that ships with it, along with a tool to remove the choke tube. All right, now once you have that detent cap off, just pull forward on your polymer MLOK rail and set it aside, and now that gives you access to the gas system. All right, now when I pull back on the charging handle, if you look right here, you can see that it's a short stroke gas piston. And you can see here where it vents the gases. Now you can make adjustments to the gas system with the charging handle, and you can also reverse the charging handle. According to the manual, if you want to set it up for left-hand ejection, it requires a different bolt, and you'll need to send it back to IWI to make that conversion to a full left-hand gun. But if you want to change the charging handle for whatever reason, you just, according to the manual, vigorously pull on this charging handle, and they ain't kidding, and you can yank that out. Now you can put it on the other side, but you can also adjust your gas system using the end of the tool or charging handle. It becomes a tool when you use it in the gas system. You can also do this while the hand guard is in place. So if I put the hand guard back on, you'll see that the charging handle can still access the gas system. Okay, so it's marked low and high. That's basically for standard 2 3/4 inch. High would be for 3-inch chambered shells or other super high powered shells, so you can adjust it between the two. So you can either put the charging handle over here, or you can put it back over here, and I'm just going to put it back over here. All right, and just a detent holds it in place. Now you'll see in the front here, the handguard rides in the dovetail of this aluminum pick rail that rides across the top that's bolted to the receiver back here where the EOTech is. So you got to line that up, slide that on like that to reassemble, and then you take your muzzle nut here and crank that down, and that'll put your rail system back on the shotgun. Now you'll notice one thing that I don't like about the shotgun right away is there's no easy way to remove the 3-round magazine to clean it. Should you get dirt and debris inside your tube, it's going to take tools to split the receiver apart, the 2 polymer halves, to get this out, to get it clean somehow. With the original 1216 that used a similar system of magazine, you could push a button, drop the magazine out, put a fresh magazine in, either to reload or to have a backup magazine should the one in the gun go bad. All right, now we're going to put the bolt back on. Put the bolt on. You have this rod, silver rod. You see how that slides right over, drops into place. Take your recoil spring, put it so that is pointing upwards. Grab your aluminum receiver housing that houses your trigger pack and riser, slide that over. Until it locks into place, sort of. There we go. Now it's under spring pressure, it's going to want to spring up. So you're going to hold it down. Take this little thing that I'm calling a spacer, put that on, hold it down, slide this through from either side until the detent grabs it. And now take your butt plate, set it on, slide it to the rear, and when you do that, don't worry, that locks this QD swivel in place so it's not going to pull out while you're using the sling. And then just a quick function check. and the shotgun is back together. We have some more estate here. This time we have 7.5 shot, has a muzzle velocity of 1,290 feet per second, which falls within the range that they advertise it should work with, and it's $7.99. It's half the price of the 5 shot that we used previously. All right, so let's go ahead and load up 15 rounds of this and see if it works. Now, this is Super Sport and Competition Target Load. You'll see it's low brass. I'm gonna drop my bolt so I don't accidentally load the shotgun. Put it on safe. See how she works with this stuff. Now, we did lubricate the shotgun before we started shooting this afternoon. All right. And we had a round that failed to go all the way back. So I'm gonna have to hold the bolt to the rear so it doesn't slam home on my finger. Release that shell. All right, except for that one little goof up, we saw that it cycled that 1,290 feet per second bird shot, 7.5 bird shot, okay. Now that hang up we saw when we fired one test round before we started filming this afternoon to see if hitting this button would actually fire the shotgun, just making sure it wouldn't. And we had that problem with that one tube, and it seems like with low brass ammunition, I may have one tube in this magazine that doesn't like low brass shotgun shells. Let's load it up again and see if we can counter that problem. So I have loaded 15 rounds of that 7.5 estate. Go ahead and load the shotgun. I did put some oil into the magazine tubes as well. See if I could alleviate the problem of the magazine tube sticking with the low brass. Now the SRM 1216 had a tube release or magazine release up here you'd hit with your thumb. And I'm finding myself reaching up there with my thumb trying to release the magazine when it's inside the trigger guard here with the index finger. All right, and locked open. So a little bit of oil in the magazine tube may have remedied that issue. So we'd already lubed the action of the gun pretty good, but I did not lube the magazine. Not used to having to lube magazines. So yeah, now you'll notice when the gun's empty, I can rotate the magazine and it will not drop unless it finds a round in one of the tubes. Then it automatically triggers the chambering. All right. Interesting. We'll try some buckshot here in a minute, the stuff that didn't work at the beginning of the video, and see if it was just a matter of breaking the shotgun in a little bit. So now we're going to try some 1,200 foot per second, 7.5 shot. All right, this is low brass stuff. It's from Remington. Let's see if it cycles. This will be interesting. Kind of working our way down in the power level here. How interesting is that? So now it's shooting 7.5 shot and at 1,200 feet per second advertised on the box, and the gun's running good. Now again, we've oiled the action. We now have oiled the magazine. So it looks like maybe that hanging up with low brass stuff has stopped. We saw that twice this morning. Let's keep on shooting. We don't have much shotgun shells left, but let's go back and revisit that buck. Plus I have some Winchester here. This is some 6 shot. It doesn't have an advertised velocity, but it's definitely low brass. Let's go ahead and give this a try. I'm going to go ahead and drop that bolt. Shotgun will not cycle, according to the owner's manual. The mini shells, that's why he didn't bring any out. It's not going to work. All right. Let's go ahead and release a round, which didn't seem to do anything. Wow. All right, let's try that again. Let's rotate the cylinder. There, I heard one go in that time. Don't know what happened there. All right, let's see if this stuff works. 6 shot. Rotating is awkward and clumsy for me given the size of my hands and length of my fingers. All right, locks open. Kind of yanking on the beard a little bit just through friction. That's why I keep pushing my hair back down. But yeah, so now it's cycling 1,200 foot per second, 6-shot. Let's revisit that buckshot that it stumbled on at the beginning of the video. This is that buckshot we started off the video with from Fiocchi. That nickel-plated buck. And I think, what was the advertised velocity? 1325. So this is 100 foot per second faster than the bird shot we were just shooting. So hopefully, just a matter of breaking in some components. I did like about the SRM16, which was an unreliable piece of junk, but the SRM1216 did allow you to swap magazines for reloading. So if you had a few of the extra mags, which were stupid expensive, you could reload a little bit more quickly. All right, so let's go ahead, charge shotgun, heard a round drop, pick it up, and let's see if it'll cycle this stuff now. Okay, it did. And what's funny, guys, notice how flat the barrel is. This Fiocchi stuff is really pud loaded. They're claiming 1325. Maybe that's because I don't know. This stuff doesn't kick nearly as much as the bird shot we were just shooting. So now it's cycling the stuff that it wouldn't at the opening of the video. I'm seeing a muzzle flash and everything you would see except for the recoil impulse would indicate really hot stuff, but that bird shot kicked more. So now we're back to the Winchester military grade buckshot. All right, you can see the shells are kind of cool looking. You can see all the shells we fired out here already. All right, let's go ahead and drop that first round. Heard it drop, charge it, and let's see if she's going to cycle. Now it's really throwing them now, and this is definitely warmer than the other buckshot. And we got a malfunction. It thinks the magazine is empty. It locked to the rear, so I'm going to go with it. That cartridge is sticking in there because I can see the primer. Oh, you know what? User error. I wiggled the magazine and it chambered around. So I think we just found a slight issue with the magazine. If you rotate it and you hold that button a little too long, you go a little bit past it. See how I can do that? It loaded that first round, but then it didn't chamber the second one. When I rotated the magazine back that little bit, it chambered the round. All right. User error or design issue. I don't know which you'd classify that as. I'll let you be the judge. Now we have some federal target loads. This is 1145 in velocity with 7.5 shot. So this is under the 1200 or 1250 velocity that the manual recommends. Now the manual does say that once you find a round or load that the shotgun likes, stick with it. And I'm not making excuses for the shotgun. If you've used semi-automatic shotguns in the past, you'll know just how fickle they can be. This stuff is about 65 feet per second slower than what it should be shooting. I think I got 5 in there already. I do. All right, let's see what happens when we go low. All right, release the round. All right, so we went well under that 1250 or 1200 foot per second with those federal loads, and it just ran 15 rounds of them. The more I'm shooting the shotgun, it seems like the better it's getting. So if you do get one of these, don't be discouraged by your first few rounds fired, because I really thought I was going to start off doing a video that was going to be very critical of the TS12. And now, aside from the ergonomic issues I might have with it, the functional issues aren't there. The shotgun's working. So we're going to fire some more stuff and just see what we can do to choke it with the pud loads we have. But I think that was the weakest stuff we found. Everything else we have is over 1200 or at 1200. That was the only stuff under 1200 we brought out this afternoon. This is just some Remington target club loads you can see we've had for quite a while, advertised at 1200 feet per second with 8-shot. More affordable bird shot. That stuff was right around $6 a box, $5 a box, and cycled just fine. Woo! All right. That was gassy. I was firing so fast there, I gassed myself out like I was shooting a suppressor. Eyes are watering. All right, so it cycled that stuff just fine too. So it seems like once we broke this shotgun in, it's cycling a diverse selection of 12 gauge shells. Wow, I was really worried there at the beginning of this video. That's why you stick around to the end, because literally we took this thing out of the box, we field stripped it, looked at it, lubed it up, and started firing it for you guys right here on camera. And you're kind of going along with us with our experience of firing the TS12 for the first time. Well, we fired buckshot, birdshot, and everything else. Let's try some slugs. We found a few boxes of this in our box of random shotgun shells. This is law enforcement federal tactical slug, and it is a Hydra shock, it says. And if you look at the nose of the bullet, you'll see that signature cone of the Hydra shock. Load those up. All right, let's give these federal Hydra shock law enforcement slugs a chance here. They're grouping fairly decently. Definitely need to adjust my sight to the right. Yeah. It's grouping really nice, rocking that challenge target. Cycled those just fine as well. This afternoon we came out here and shot all different types of ammunition through the IWI TS12 gauge Bullpup shotgun. The gun does retail for $13.99, but again, you can find them online for $1,200. What do I think of it overall? Well, when we first started shooting the shotgun this afternoon, I was not impressed. I thought, oh boy, another lemon. And I thought we were going to wind up having to do another negative video, which I don't enjoy doing. But the shotgun started to break in. Now, I'm not a big advocate of break-in periods, but okay. The shotgun started to work very quickly, and we went back, and the shotgun shells it was having problems with at the beginning of the video, it started to cycle just fine later in the afternoon. So we fired hundreds of different rounds of all types of different shotgun shells, from 8-shot, 7.5-shot, 5-shot, 6-shot, buckshot, slugs, all ran through the shotgun once we broke it in. So doing the air quotes there. So what do I think of it? Well, it's a bullpup. I love bullpups. I don't really necessarily like the magazine system. I like it and I dislike it. I like the fact that you have an overall very short package here, which is only possible with this magazine setup. But what I don't like about it is the fact that I can't quickly remove it like I could on the SRM 1216, because if I'm having a problem with this magazine, or if it's dirty or whatever, I can't quickly get out of the gun and get a fresh magazine into it. So in that regard, the 1216 is probably a little bit better, regardless of the fact that the 1216 is a piece of junk. This gun seems to work just fine. Now, it's short, handy, it's lightweight. It looks big and gaudy and awkwardly balanced, but once you pick it up and shoulder it, it really isn't. It's not all that heavy, and it shoulders very nice, and the recoil system, or impulse I should say, is very muted, even with the hottest shells. So I kind of like shooting the thing. I really thought I was going to end on a negative note, and it's kind of growing on me. You do have MLOK rails up here. You have this 1913 aluminum rail across the top that's bolted on back here. You know, if you're a left-handed shooter, you can send it into to IWI and pick up a left-handed model, or maybe they'll offer it as a different SKU number down the road, like they did with the Tavor when they launched it. But yeah, and the only other thing I can really complain about is I do have to break my grip because of my long fingers to hit the release button here to rotate the magazine. And we did have that one failure where I rotated the magazine just a little too far. User error, possibly. All right, guys, if you'd like to support us in our mission to bring you honest commentary about firearms on the market, well, we can only do that if you support us, because we don't take money from the gun companies. We're supported by you, our viewers. There's a link down below to Patreon. Consider becoming a Patreon supporter. Also, swing by and check out coppercustom.com. All right, guys, thanks for 11 years of support. We'll talk to you soon.